Good morning, children. Well done for all the fantastic work on the adverbs yesterday. You did really, really well. Well done. Today, we are going to be using all the learning that we have done so far about the features of instructions and use of imperative verbs and adverbs to improve a given set of instructions. But we are also then going to add yet another type of word groups to our instructions. So let's have a look at a set of instructions and let's see how good it is, children. So we have instructions here, and straight away we know that it is the instructions for fresh fruit lollies because we have a title right at the very top. Now, what else does a good set of instructions need? That's right, we either need a list of ingredients if it's a recipe or a list of the items you will need. And there it is. You will need, and we have all the items that we need nicely separated with bullet points. And they are at the beginning of this set of instructions. So we have a title, we have a list of what we need. What else does a good set of instructions need? That's right, the method. The method with each step separated and ordered in chronological order. Chronological means we've already talked about this in autumn 2, it means in time order, that in the order of what things, how things need to take place. So let's have a look. Do we have a method here? Yes, we do have a method here, and we even have a lovely set of pictures to show us what we need to do for each of the steps. Now, how do we know what order to do these steps in? That's right, very good, because we have numbers. And in a minute, in today's lesson, we are going to be looking at what else we can use instead of numbers. But before we do that, let's have a look at our steps, at our method. We know that we need to have imperative verb in each of the steps, in each of the sentences. So do we have imperative verbs? Yes, there they are right at the beginning of each command. So we have the imperative verb mash, pour, spoon, drop, put, and here we have lift. So we know that we have imperative verbs in these instructions. That's very good. But children, apart from imperative verbs, what did we learn yesterday that a good set of instructions should have? Very good. Adverbs. Adverbs. We should have adverbs in this set of instructions. Can you see any adverbs in these instructions, children? How do we spot an adverb? What are we looking for, children? What do the adverbs usually end with? What suffix? ly. Very good. Can you see any words ending with ly in my set of instructions? No, they are not there, are they? So the first thing we are going to do when we improve our set of instructions, we are going to make sure that they have adverbs. So let's have a look at the first step. Mash up the strawberries using a potato masher. So I need to think of an adverb which would describe how to mash up the strawberries. And I think I'm going to use an adverb completely. Capital letter, completely. Mash up the strawberries using a potato masher. Well, I wouldn't want to mash them up just few of strawberries. I need to make sure that I mash them up completely. Good. So I now have an adverb in the first step. Second step, pour in the orange juice and mix together with a wooden spoon. Now again, I want to say that the how to pour in the orange juice. What adverb would you put in there, children? How should I pour in the orange juice? Carefully would be a good one, that's right. So I'm going to say pour in the orange juice carefully and mix together with a wooden spoon. I could have put the adverb here, carefully pour in the orange juice, but actually we learned yesterday that we don't have to have the adverb right in front of the verb. Sometimes it can be separated with a noun and can be placed after the verb, as in this instance. But what I must always make sure is that my sentence makes sense. So I'm going to check, pour in the orange juice carefully and mix together with a wooden spoon. Yes, it does make sense. Now the next step, spoon the mixture into the egg cup. So how can I describe, what adverb can I use to describe how to spoon the mixture into the egg cups? Some good suggestions. I am going to go for neatly, spoon the mixture neatly into the egg cups. Step number 4, drop a couple of blueberries into each one. How should I do that? How should I drop a couple of blueberries into each one? And remember, we are trying to use different adverbs all the time, so not necessarily repeating the same adverb all the time, thinking of new ones. So how could I drop a couple of blueberries into each one? I think I'm going to say gradually. Gradually drop a couple of blueberries into each one. Put a lolly stick on the side. How could I put a lolly stick on the side? Well, I think I need to put it neatly. Neatly put a lolly stick on the side. Put the egg cups into the freezer and leave for 2 to 3 hours. Put the egg cups carefully. Or can I think of a better one? Because I've already had carefully. Put the egg cups smoothly, directly into the freezer and leave for 2 to 3 hours. Then once set, lift the fruit lolly out of the egg cup by the lolly stick. Be sure to eat them before they melt. I think we need to eat them. How do we need to eat them? Quickly. Need to eat them quickly before they melt. So I have improved this set of instructions by putting in adverbs, because that was something that was missing from this particular set of instructions. Now, children, let's think. We talked about the fact that sometimes we can have bullet points at the beginning of each instruction, as we had in our instructions, the very first 8 instructions on how to make the paper mache globe. We've also had numbers to separate each instruction. But did you know, children, sometimes we can use time conjunction at the beginning of each instruction instead of a number. So that's what we are going to try to do today. Now, do you remember when we sit in class, where in class could we find our list of time conjunctions, children? That's right. They are right to the left of our whiteboard, on the top of our whiteboard. And we use time conjunctions a lot when we were writing a recount of Mary Seacole's life. So I bet that you can remember some time conjunctions, children. Can you think of any time conjunctions that we could use in our writing? Lovely. I can hear you saying all those lovely time conjunctions. Super, children. Now, I have got to help you. We have a list of time conjunctions here. So, they're all words that suggest a passage of time. That's why they are called time conjunctions. And they're also called conjunctions because they join ideas together. Usually they make the text flow nicely and they join ideas between different sentences. So let's have a look at this list of time conjunctions together. We have after, afternoon, before, during, earlier, evening, eventually, finally, first, lastly, later, meanwhile, morning, next, suddenly, then, when, while, yesterday, after that, as soon as possible, at that point, at the end, in the beginning, in the end, just at that moment, just then, several hours, days, months later, without warning. Now, do you think that all of these time conjunctions would be suitable for use in our instructions? No, you are right, not necessarily, because some of the time conjunctions would be better for use in a story rather than the instructions. So we will have to be selective. We'll have to think about which of these time conjunctions is the best, is going to fit the best in our instructions. So I'm going to copy this into my Word document on instructions, just so that they can help us to see what those time conjunctions are. There it is. Oh, it's messed up all my instructions. Right, let's try that again. Let's try copying underneath the table. There they are. Okay, so children, let's have a look. We're going to be improving this set of instructions with time conjunctions. So we're going to have a go at taking out the numbers and replacing them with time conjunctions. So can you think of what would be the suitable time conjunction for the very first step? Have a look at the list. You are right. It would make sense to use the time conjunction first. So I need to make sure that I have capital letter because it's going to be the beginning of the sentence. Capital F first. And did you know, children, after a time conjunction, if the time conjunction is at the beginning of the sentence, we use a comma, children. We use a comma to separate the time conjunction at the beginning of the sentence from the rest of the sentence. So that's a very useful piece of punctuation to use. After the time conjunction, at the beginning of the sentence, we put a comma to separate it from the rest of the sentence. So now instead of number 1, my first instruction says, first completely mash up the strawberries using a potato masher. So instead of the next number, what could I use? What time conjunction could I use in my next step? Do you think I could use next? Of course, we could use next. So let's put capital letter, capital N, because it's the beginning of the sentence, and time conjunctions go at the beginning of the sentence. And then what punctuation do I need after the time conjunction? A comma. Very good. Well done. Now, my third step. What time conjunction could I use for my third step, children? What would you go for? Spoon the mixture neatly into the egg cups. I'm going to go for after that, comma, spoon the mixture neatly into the egg cup. Then I have my next step, gradually drop a couple of blueberries into each one. What could I use? So I have had next, after that, I could use then, comma, gradually drop a couple of blueberries into each one. The next step is neatly put a lolly stick on the side. What could I use? At that point, that would be a good time conjunction. At that point, neatly put lolly stick on a side. Two more. So let's thing. Put the egg cups directly into the freezer and leave for 2 to 3 hours. I think I should go for one particular conjunction as soon as possible. As soon as possible, a comma, put the egg cups directly into the freezer and leave for 2 to 3 hours. Once set, in fact, that is already a time conjunction. Lift the fruit lolly out of the egg cup by the lolly stick and be sure to eat them quickly. Lovely. So I have, to improve my instructions, I checked that I had all the parts of the good instructions, such as the title, the list of what we'll need, and the method. And in the method, we checked together that we had all the imperative verbs, which were there, but we also noticed that we didn't have any adverbs. So we added the adverbs into our text, into each of the steps. And then finally, we decided that instead of the numbers, we are going to use time conjunctions in our instructions today. So our task today is going to be all about checking our work and making improvements to it. So this is not in your pack, but it will be attached to your it will be attached to the tapestry post. You have a choice of 2 tasks, easier task and a trickier task. Easier task looks like this. You are going to be given muddled up instructions, children, muddled up instructions. And your task is going to be to order those instructions in the correct order, in the order that they should be done. Now, we have chosen a very easy set of instructions on how to clean our teeth because we all know how to do that. So you need to use your knowledge of how to clean your teeth to order this set of instructions. So cut them out first, arrange them in a correct order, and then make improvements to them by adding time conjunctions. So make improvements to these instructions by adding time conjunctions. To make things easier for you and to jot your memory, I have included the list of the time conjunctions in the document. And then after you have done this, to extend yourself, highlight all the verbs in green and all the adverbs in pink. It's important that we do that because we keep on forgetting what the verbs and adverbs are. So we are doing it again and again, just so that we can get ingrained in our minds. So we don't forget what the verbs and the adverbs are. So this is the easier task. A bit trickier task looks like this, children. You also have muddled up instructions. Again, you need to cut them out, arrange them in order in your book. You will also need to add time conjunctions. However, your instructions miss the adverbs. Your instructions don't have any adverbs, so it will be up to you to add not just the time conjunctions, but the adverbs as well. And then, as an extension, you will need to again highlight the verbs in green, time conjunctions in purple, and the adverbs in red. So choice of 2 tasks, choose the task that you think is the most appropriate to you to help you learn. So one more time, children, today we are focusing on improving our instructions, and we're specifically learning about how to use the time conjunctions in instructions. I'm very much looking forward to seeing all your work on a tapestry. Bye for now.